41. Welcome to our workshop on relationships. Allow me to address the issue of anonymity for those joining us online. When joining a virtual meeting, you will need to keep your video turned off to guarantee your anonymity. If you turn your video on, you are choosing to be seen by other participants. You can also change your name or switch to a first name plus last initial to protect your identity. Let's open with a moment of silence followed by the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Welcome to GRCNA 41, Together We Grow. Our intention for this convention is to make available to our fellowship a weekend of recovery, celebration, and fun. We hope that all addicts receive the NA message of recovery while they are participating in this event. It is our hope that the message we carry may truly let everyone know that NA is a place to recover and that no addict seeking recovery need die from addiction. If you are joining us virtually, please dress appropriately on camera. I have asked for volunteers for our meetings. Will someone please read how it works?
My name's Doug, Recovery Addict. How it works. If you want what we have to offer and are ready to make the effort to get it, you're willing to take certain steps. These are the principles that made our recovery possible. 1, we admitted that we're powerless over our addictions, that our lives have become unmanageable. 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrong. 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, we made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, we made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, we continued to take personal inventory when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Thank you.
On the other side of that paper that you have there? Yes, you got it? Okay, awesome. Will you please read the 12 traditions?
Hello, family. Addict name Yolanda. The 12 traditions of NA. We keep what we have only with vigilance. And just as freedom from the individual comes from the 12 steps, so freedom from the group springs from our traditions. As long as the ties that bind us together are stronger than those that will tear us apart, all will be well. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on NA unity. 2, our group purpose there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God, as He may express Himself in our conscience. Our leaders are the trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for membership is the desire to stop using. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or NA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry the message to the addict who still suffers. 6, an NA group ought never endorse finance or lend NA to any relationship facility or outside enterprise. These are the problems of money, property, or prestige divert from our primary purpose. 7, every NA group ought be fully self-supporting with tiny outside contributions. 8, Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, NA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible for those they serve. 10, Narcotics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues. Hence, the NA name ought never be brought into public controversy. 11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our tradition, ever reminding us to place principles before personality.
I am very grateful to have the honor of introducing these two amazing women sitting next to me. This is my left. This is Naomi. Sorry. Naomi is my sponsor, and she saves my life every day. So I hope, well, I know that she's going to do awesome. I hope you guys hear the awesome that I get to hear every day. And then to my right, this is Tori. Tori made a huge impact on my recovery because she was the discussion leader at the very first NA meeting that I ever went to. So she had a huge part in changing my life because I haven't stopped coming since I went to that very first meeting that she was at. So I'm very excited that I get to hear what these two awesome women have to say. If there's extra time after they are done speaking, everyone is invited to share. I will open it up if there's extra time. So just keep limit your sharing to 3 to 5 minutes. Raise your hand, and I'll call on you. And I think that's it. So Naomi.
I'm Naomi, I'm an addict. And I'm pretty bare bones honest anyway, but there's some things I don't share at a meeting this big. But I was asked to share on this topic, so you're getting pure honesty. You might want to buckle up. I am nervous. I'm really grateful to have been asked. And to have been asked by who I was asked, the committee, Patrick. I'm really grateful that my sponsor and grand sponsor are here. They have seen me through most of my recovery last time and this time. And I'll tell you more about that. I'm so grateful that 3 of my sponsees are here. Y'all show me every day that I need to be here, that people need to hear what I have to say. And I love what y'all bring back to me. And then I'm grateful. At least when I wrote this down, I was really grateful that all of you were going to be here. This is a few more of you than I was anticipating. So bear with me. I'm Naomi and I'm an addict. I had 17 years clean.
All right.
Wait. Oh, don't get there so quick. I had 17 years clean. I relapsed emotionally and behaviorally for about 2 years. And then I picked up drugs for 2 weeks. I now have 4 years clean.
All right.
Truly, I thought I was grateful before. I've never been more grateful than I am for this time clean and to be here and be asked to share with y'all. I was really nervous about who I was going to share with. And then I found out it was Tori. Tori grew up at my house with my kids. And then she ended up in the rooms with me. And she and I call each other about our relationships nearly, all the time. I get so much from her. And I guess she's still calling me, so she must get something from me. I couldn't be more grateful to be sharing with anybody else. I've been married for 34 years, together with my husband for 36 years. And we've known each other since he was a year older than me, 3rd and 4th grade. So he knew exactly what he was getting into. Our families have been friends for years and years. I ain't even putting the cap on because I'm going to need more water. Those of you who are close to me probably know this, but I have always been polyamorous, even when I was choosing to practice monogamy, even before I knew there was a word for how I loved. I'll tell you a little story. I was either nursery, like when you're 4 years old or 5 years old. I think it was kindergarten, nursery school. There was Michael H. and he was in my class, and we traded pencils because that's what you did then. And then Donna E. came along. I know their last names, but you know, anonymity and all that. Donna E. came along, and he wanted to trade pencils with Donna E. So he told me, I can't trade pencils with you anymore. I'm going to trade pencils with Donna E. And no, this is not some sort of euphemism. We were 5. And I was like, why can't we all trade pencils together? No, that's not how it works. And believe it or not, that was my first feeling of shame about how I did things and how I loved, and what I believed about the world. And so that's when I started stuffing some things down and looking at the world a little differently and realizing I couldn't really be myself. And that carried on through elementary school. We didn't have middle school back then. High school, and I started dating. And I always kind of dated. You know, not necessarily one person, but I was honest about it. My mom never understood. She's like, how do you make this work? And then I got to college. And yeah, sure. And then I got to college. And my husband went to Georgia Tech. And I was out of state. But I came back at one point, and it was for my sister's wedding, and I asked his sister about him because that's how close our families were. His sister was in my sister's wedding, and I guess she went home and said, Naomi asked about you, and I came back that May, and he asked me out, and here we are. So anyway, where was I going with that? So if you don't know what polyamory is, it is ethically, keyword, having loving and romantic relationships with more than one person. My experience is that I can love 3 people healthily or addictively, and I can love one person healthily or addictively. It all depends on whether I'm putting principles or disease on it. And I can love one person addictively just as easily as I can love 3 people addictively, or one person healthfully, 3 people healthfully. I was always honest with my sponsor, but I didn't really talk about it in meetings. I didn't really want the whole world knowing my business. And then a sponsee outed me, but not with the truth of how I lived my life, but with lies, saying that I had caused her to cheat. Anybody who knows me that knows that is not how I operate. So anyway, that's enough about that. But after that, the person she had outed me to then began to spread some lies about me, although I don't think he knew they were lies. And really had quite a few people shun me within the rooms. I stayed clean through that. I had my sponsor to lean on. And trust me, it was not my choice, but with her help, I took the high road and just let it play out. It was hurtful. I was told by somebody that I would relapse. And I did relapse 10 years later, but it wasn't because I was polyamorous. It was because I had stopped living mindfully. And I had chosen really poorly, and I didn't use my tools to choose the person I was involved with. It was really hard. But again, it wasn't my lifestyle. It was who I chose to be involved with. And trust me, how many monogamous people in here ever made a bad choice in a relationship? Just checking. So yeah, luckily I made a really good choice in the man that I had married, and he has stood by me and been my partner through everything we've gone through. We have 2 parents in hospice right now, and his father is 101 and not in hospice, thank God. And we're walking through that hand in hand. So trust me when I say he is a partner to be just cherished. When I came back this time, I vowed to myself to be more mindful than I had ever been. And trust me, I tried really hard before I got to relapse mode to be mindful. And I thought I was being authentic, but I wouldn't have shared in a room like this about who I really was. So this time I was going to be more authentic and more mindful. And in my spiritual tradition, there is a story. And it says when you come, at the end of life, when you come face to face with the God of your understanding, he won't ask, why wasn't I more, why weren't you more like Nikki? Or why weren't you more like Tori? What that God is going to ask is, why weren't you more like Naomi? And so I vow that that's something I say to myself every day. Am I being myself? Because that's what I want my sponsees to see. That's what I want from them, is to be their best self and their most authentic self. My mouth is dry.
I think you stand up when you hear
Okay, sorry. Bear with me. So given that spiritual tradition and how I do things, this is how I have been successful this time around in my recovery and in my relationships. My primary relationship, love you, Dan, but it's not with you. It's with the God of my understanding.
There we go.
And then it's with self. Then it's with sponsor and sponsees. Then my family and my network. And then with those I choose to be romantic with. Every single morning, without fail, I ask God to be in my life and in every single one of my relationships. I can't stand without pacing. So I mean, those of you who come over to the house in the morning, she's here at my house. She's not here. She's at my house every Friday morning. We have coffee, and poor thing has to listen to me pray, because if you're with me, you're going to see what I do. I pray, and it's not like a short, brief little prayer. I go on, and my sponsor knows I go on in my stuff work too. So I pray. I pray for people on my prayer list. I pray for, I thank God for what I'm grateful for. I don't care if you don't use the word God. That's a God of my understanding. I don't care if it's Allah. I don't care if it's Buddha, whatever. It's something, the great mystery, the universe. I express my gratitude. I pray for those people on my prayer list, on my congregation's prayer list. I ask for the things that I need. One of those is harmony in my personal relationships. I pray for my sponsees. I pray for my sponsor, because if she don't have a good life going on, I'm in trouble. I pray to use the tools to get my answers, and to focus on my relationship with my higher power and myself. Okay, and that right there is the start of a good relationship. Communication, honest, open communication. That starts with the God of my understanding. It starts with me being honest and open with myself and checking myself. And it starts with having a relationship with my sponsees where there is nothing. Is there anything y'all couldn't tell me? And they know they will not be judged. They know that they will be welcomed with open arms, and we'll get through it together.
That's right.
And I know that about my sponsor and my grand sponsor, because they've been there for me for 20 plus years. So it starts with open and honest communication. Then we move, which is basically step one. I do an inventory every single night, right after I pray. And again, I thank God for everything in my life that's good and those things that aren't so good. I ask for God to watch over my relationships. I bless my mother, my father, even though he's of blessed memory, my husband's parents, the families of all those I love. I go on and on, just you'll notice that. I put in the work to have the kind of relationships that I believe in and that I can believe in, whether it's one or many. I do, this has been a hard one for me. And, you know, the relationship that contributed to my relapse, I was trying to fix and manage to control that boy like you would not believe. And I do say boy because those of you who know, that's what he was. And I thought I could save him. I thought I could bring him into the program. That didn't happen. My mom was very sick. She had just been diagnosed with cancer. My sisters were, one was out of the country, one was out of town. I was taking care of her. He thought it would be a good idea to tell me, this will help you do everything you need to do. And I wasn't being dishonest with y'all. And it looked like a good idea. And unfortunately, my family of origin backed it up because I was able to get so much done those 2 weeks until I looked at myself in the mirror and couldn't handle it. And I don't know what I would have done if that relationship had been the only one. But thank God I maintained my relationships with my sponsor, with my home group that's still going, with my husband, and with the other people in my life. And y'all saved me. I don't know what I would have done without my network in recovery. I turn my relationships and my will in my life and the lives of those I love over to the care of God every single morning. And I thank God for guiding me throughout the day and making me not take my will back. I have to ask for that sometimes several times a day. I'm a stubborn little thing. 4, 5, 6, and 7. I had a lot of amends to make after my relapse with my husband, with people in my life that stayed. One of my other relationships is 8 years, and he endured some pretty horrible things at my hands. And he stayed and he worked to be more a part of my life, not less. And I'm very grateful for those 2 men because they're amazing. I do a 10th step every single night, written. That's what I have to do. When I did that before, but when I stopped doing that, I wish I had looked at how dangerous that was for me. I know how dangerous it is for me not to do a written inventory every night. That may not be what everyone has to do, but I know myself now, and I do not want to relapse. The second thing is through doing all my steps. And I didn't take my time. I went through them thoroughly with my sponsor, not just through the flat book, but if I could find other resources to do. My sponsor has been so great about, sure, if you want to do them that way. I've never done it that way, but sure. And I did the most powerful 6th and 7th step this time by the Chattahoochee River, where I put my character defects that I was trying to hold on to so bad and wrote them on rocks, and I threw them into the Chattahoochee. And I've never had a more freeing experience because I need something concrete. If I don't do something concrete, I don't know that it's going to take for me. In doing all my steps this time, I realized what I needed in relationships, in friendships, in my relationships with my family. And something we do in the polyamorous community that I don't know, I mean, we say our vows when we get married, but I've made much more serious relationship agreements with my husband since we've been polyamorous, because you know what? I don't want to screw this up. So like, these are the things I require of you. And I need to know what you require of me. And that way he has something to call me on, like, you said you were going to do this, this, and this, and you didn't do those things. And I can say the same thing to him. And we're committed to not walk away from each other, but to work through it. And you know how I walk through these things? With the 12 steps, by calling my sponsor, by sharing the feelings in a meeting. I may not share the details, but I share the feelings that I'm having. And I do that in all my relationships. The area that I'm struggling a bit is when one of my partners does not stay true to our relationship agreements. My goal is to be respectful in how I let them know that they're not. I'm Italian and Jewish. I got a temper. That doesn't always happen. But I'm working on it. I mean, I'm a little bit of a hothead, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better. But the thing is, when I don't do it respectfully, it doesn't take me long to apologize and make amends and change how I've done things. Bear with me. That's it on that. And so I do, I think I've talked about doing steps 1, 2, and 3. Honesty, turning it over to the God of my understanding. 4, 5, 6, and 7 get taken care of by 10 these days because I do it every darn night. 8 and 9, if I got to make amends, I do them. I don't want to sit on that. It eats me alive. 10, 11, and 12 are my favorite steps. They're what led me back to the rooms in 2 weeks, as opposed to a lot longer. And trust me, people were trying before I picked up drugs. Those 2 years of behavioral relapse were horrible. And it was like, I know for the people who loved me, it was like watching a train wreck. And I don't ever want to do that to them again. So I do that 10-step inventory. Those of you who have been to the house, I'm early on in recovery. I found labyrinths. In my first 11th step, I found labyrinths. I like to walk labyrinths. They say how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you walk the labyrinth mindfully, you will live your life mindfully. So my husband helped, I directed. He built me a labyrinth in the backyard with stones, and it's beautiful. And I go out there. I've been slacking lately, and that's why this is really good, because I'm stating to y'all that I do it every day. Well, I better get back to doing it every day. And if I can't do it because I'm a princess and I might melt in the rain, I have a finger labyrinth that I do. And if anyone wants to contact me on Facebook or whatever, I will send you that finger labyrinth so you can learn how to do it yourself. And basically what I say right before I walk that labyrinth, take 3 deep breaths, and I ask God to help me lean into my connection with Him, and to not get stuck in or on any of myself, and to grant me peace. That helps. Don't know why. I look up at the sky, I breathe deep, and it just gives me a different perspective on my day. And that's really, that is when I really connect with God at a very deep level. So prayer, that's my meditation, because sitting still doesn't always work for me. And then carrying a message. And it's important to me to carry this particular message because there weren't a lot of people out there that lived this way when I realized that, there's a word for the way I love. And I want there to be a resource. And that doesn't, my sponsor is, to the best of my knowledge, not polyamorous. I love her and her husband. They have a wonderful marriage. But when I came out to her or said, this is what my steps are leading me to, she went with me on that journey to figure it out and to make sure I lived my life the way that felt authentic to me. So, and not all my sponsees are polyamorous. They all live their lives as authentically as they can, but they absolutely know I'm not going anywhere no matter what they tell me. So that tells you a little bit about what I do. And the past 4 years, my life has blossomed. My relationships have flourished, and I'm talking about, let's go through them again, because y'all have heard this, with God, with myself, with my amazing sponsor and grant sponsor, with my sponsees, who again teach me every day that I need to be here. My family, again, my amazing husband and our 2 kids, who I know need us as parents. They're not the most traditional kids either. And they needed 2 parents who would accept them no matter what. My friends, my family of origin, and my partners. And then all of you, because I just shared my story more honestly than I could ever have. And I think if you come into my home, if you look at the way I live my life, I am so blessed because it is overflowing with love. And I could not have ever had that without the 12 steps of this program and the love of this fellowship. Thank you for letting me share.
An addict named Tori.
Hey!
There are a lot of people in here, and I feel kind of. And honestly, I have spent about like 90 seconds thinking about this because if I think about it too much, I get a little bit more goofy. And I have pregnancy brain anyway, so I wouldn't remember what I thought I was going to say anyway, so it would have been a waste of time. So, but I was like going to come in here and tell you what a joy it is to be married to me, but my husband is here, so I can't do that because it's definitely not. But seriously, so I don't know. I was talking to somebody earlier this week about this, and like when Patrick asked me to do a workshop on relationships, like I thought about marriage, but like I didn't think like a workshop on marriage. Like that's not, because there are just all of the relationships that I have in my life that I had before I got married are what taught me the little bit that I do know about being married. Because they didn't know how to be in relationship with anybody when I got here. Because all of my relationships were, what can I get from you? And how can you help me? And that was it. So like the first relationship, well, let me back up. Naomi mentioned that like I grew up at her house, and that's because both of my parents are in recovery. So the first relationship that I had to figure out when I got clean was like how to be in relationship with my parents in Narcotics Anonymous. You know, because we went to the same meetings. And it was, for me anyway, I have never asked them I should ask how it was for them, because I've never really thought about it. But for me, it was really challenging because I was 20 years old, and I lived with them. So like they are my mom and dad, and I still live at their house, or I live at their house again. So they have rules and shit. But I'm grown. I thought I was grown. I wasn't paying any of my own bills or anything, but I thought I was grown. So like I had a power struggle, particularly with my mom, on like how
how we were going to interact with each other in Narcotics Anonymous. Like, and how I thought it should go was that we're going to go to a meeting and you're going to pretend like you don't know me. And I'm going to do what I want and you're not going to say shit about it. And that's how this is going to go. And that is not at all how it went. At all. But I had to learn how to be in relationship with my parents, existing in the same place, recovering together. And really, like, the end of that story is that when I just let it go, it really got really easy, you know, because all they wanted was for me to stay clean. And my parents are really good about, at least with me, really good about, like letting me, like they don't really give their opinion unless I ask. So like when I just let that go, it was really a lot easier than I expected. So that was the first one. And then I had to get a sponsor that was not already sponsored by my mother. That was really hard. It was really hard. Like, I was trying to find somebody, because like I knew all of these women already and I was close with a lot of them already. But I'm like, mark her off the list because my mom sponsors her, and mark her off the list because my mom's her grand sponsor, you know, and so it was really challenging. But I found one, and I have never, ever been like entirely honest from start to finish in a relationship with anyone ever before. And she was the first person that I was ever honest with. Ever. And like I say this relatively often when I share, and I don't know that I would advise this, but this is what I did. Okay. So when I got clean, I got clean because the relationship that I was in at the time, I was with a normal guy. By normal, I mean like he drank on the weekends and like went to work on Monday. Then I did not. And he didn't do like illegal substances. And like his life functioned in a way that mine did not. So I was in a relationship with this guy, hiding all of this drug use, except the socially acceptable parts. But like trying to keep these consequences under wraps. Like I got fired, but I'm going to make up this story about how I quit or why I quit or whatever, so that I don't have to say that I got fired because I don't actually go to work. I use drugs instead of going to work. So anyway, the relationship lasted about 1.5 years, but like all of the trying to keep the skeletons in the closet did not last very long. Because there were a lot of them. So they started falling out and he's like scratching his head a little bit and then it's like all out there. And he basically was like, you need to get help or you need to get lost. And those are your options. And I was like, help it is. So I got clean. Spoiler alert, he left anyway. But like that relationship was, I was in this walk across workshop this afternoon, and one of the things was I have been the abuser, and I had never looked at that before until that workshop. But that relationship was abusive at best, almost entirely at my hands. You know, like I didn't beat the guy because I don't fight, but I was vile. You know, and I treated him in a way that no human being should be treated. Like I think about like the basic human level of respect, and I couldn't even give him that. And I legitimately didn't know how. You know, because I really don't. Because I was on drugs was a big part of it, but like, because I had just, that had been my experience in relationships, and that's all I knew how to do. And so he's still on my 8-step list because I haven't seen or talked to the guy in 6.5 years. But he's, anyway, that it was extremely bad relationship. And so like I got clean and he left, and I had all of these, like all this guilt and this shame. And so I called the woman that was my sponsor, and I was like, bleh, and I just told her everything that I had done to this poor boy. And like I said, I don't know that I suggest that, but that was the shit that was on my 4-step that I knew that if I didn't tell her, I wasn't going to tell her. You know, like I had to be honest with her right now while I feel like I had a moment of clarity where I felt like I could be honest, and I need to get honest right now before this moment of clarity goes away because I need some fucking help. So that's what I did. And I was like, this is my problem. How can you help? Can you help me? And she said yes. And she sponsored me. And that's how I was able to be honest with her, was just like, God gave me the willingness for a second, and I took it. And so then when I finally did get to a 4-step, it wasn't so hard because I had already word vomited all of that stuff on her like 2 years ago. So all I had to do was write it down, and it really wasn't that bad. But in the meantime, I had another question in that walk across was, I have 13 steps someone, and I said to somebody that I don't think that it should count as 13 stepping if you marry them. Because that's what happened. I met this guy. I had about a year clean, I guess, a little over a year clean, and I think he had 60 days. And one of my old buddy back there and I were going to IHOP after a meeting, and they invited the other guy. And so we talked, whatever. I got a Facebook message when I got in the car. It was the guy from dinner. I didn't know that he had 60 days clean. It didn't take me long to learn that he had 60 days clean. But what I did do, so I think he had like 90 days clean by the time we actually went on a date, which I'm not saying is better. But I had made a commitment to my sponsor and to myself, like 6 or 7 months before that I was going to, because I had not been in a relationship the entire time I had been clean. So it had been like 14 months or something. And by not been in a relationship, I mean I had not been in any relations at all with anyone. I don't mean like I didn't have a boyfriend. I mean like I was not doing that. And so I had made a commitment to myself and to my sponsor that I was not going to until I finished my 4th step. Because I was looking around at all of these different relationships in my life, my parents, my siblings, my significant other, my friends, all of it. And I was like, all of these are fucked. It cannot possibly be them. Like, I have got to be the problem. So I wanted to finish a 4th step. So that I could figure out what the fuck was wrong with me and why all of these relationships were shit. And so he asked me if I could go out on a date, but I couldn't. I don't know. I was 21, I think. Yeah, I was 21. And for some reason, telling him that I had to finish my 4th step felt like it felt so fucking lame. So I just kept coming up with reasons why I couldn't go on the date. Like, I have to do laundry, I have to this, I have to that. But he was persistent, and we went on a date. I finished the 4th step. We went over it finished it on Thursday. We went over it on Saturday, and I think we went on a date on Sunday. And I finished that 4-step with the quickness. But what I learned in that 4-step, which I kind of already knew, but it was like undeniable once I did a 4-step, was that I'm codependent as hell. And that a lot of my relationships, friendships, only existed because I'm codependent as hell. And if I started to work on that part of me, that those relationships would not exist in my life anymore. So, like in hindsight, I probably could have started to do some work on the codependence before I got in the relationship, but I had waited long enough as far as I was concerned, so I didn't do that. So we started dating. It all moved really fast. We started dating. I spent the night like 3 weeks later and never moved out. And we got engaged. We were together for a year, got engaged. We were engaged for a year, got married. And then after that, shit really started popping off. We bought a house, had the kid and a half, and the shit. I'm 30 weeks pregnant with the second one. So, and my first one's only 19 months old. So, and we've only been married for 2 years. So, not really, 2.5, almost 3. The math does math where I got pregnant after we got married. But anyway, so when I got pregnant with our first kid, I was absolutely terrified because I'm codependent as hell. And I had really, what I learned from getting in a relationship with somebody that had 90 days clean was that I robbed him of the opportunity to do any work on himself. Before there were distractions of a relationship. And whether he would have done that or not is not up to me, but I took that opportunity away from him. And that has created its own issues for me and for him and for our marriage. Because like our life hasn't gotten any slower since we started dating. The shit has only gotten busier. So the opportunity to just like sit around and do step work, like I used to go out to eat with some people that are in here, and we would sit at Waffle House and we would work on steps. And I don't have that kind of time anymore, and neither does he. So those days are gone. So doing that kind of work is intentional. And so that's what I learned about getting in a relationship with a newcomer, is that how I feel is that I robbed him of the opportunity. And it's a really icky feeling. So I got pregnant, and I desperately wanted to be pregnant. And then I got pregnant and I was terrified because I was codependent. And all I wanted to do was be different than my mom and dad, because at the time they were still really terrible people in my brain. You know, I would never say that to anybody because I really do believe that my parents are lovely people. But I thought that they were lovely people and awful parents. You know, that's how I felt. Which is not true. So like I had to get some outside help because I was working steps, but like that shit couldn't get done fast enough. Like I needed some extra help because I was really terrified of these issues that I thought that my parents created for me, that I learned through this outside help and some stuff work that they did not actually create, that these were problems of my own creation. But I was terrified of like fucking my daughter up. Like, because so I have a brother that just turned 23 on Wednesday. We're 3.5 years apart. And I have done absolutely everything for him from the time that he was born until like 3 years ago. Like I'm talking about, we're going to summer camp and I'm packing his bag, like labeling each individual day so that he's like been trying to make sure he's changing his clothes. He's got clean clothes on, like packing his lunch, making sure he's paying his car payment, like way more shit than my mom was ever doing. Because my mom was like, sink or swim, he's a fucking grown man, you know, and I'm like, no, but I'll do it. And what I learned from that was that I really wasn't helping him. That he's 23 and he doesn't know how to take care of himself. And he does know how to take care of himself, but he also knows that if he doesn't, I will. And so I did not want to create children that could not take care of themselves. You know, like how do I parent kids and teach them to be responsible for themselves and not do everything for them? So I got some outside help. I still get the outside help, and I started working steps on that particular issue. And I don't really know, you know, like I have not found a silver bullet for a codependent. I do not know what the answer is. But I do know that like my relationships with other people, like Naomi sent me this worksheet one time. I literally called her and I was like, look, somebody is asking me to do this thing and I don't want to do the thing and I really can't do the thing. But I don't know how to say no. And she literally sent me this printout that was like all of these like nice, polite ways to say no. Like, I'm sorry, but I can't commit to that right now. And I printed it out and I had it on my mirror because I didn't know how to say no, and it was ruining my life and my relationships, because I felt taken advantage of in every relationship that I was in. And again, if I feel taken advantage of by every person in the room, it's probably not them. You know, like it is probably me. So I started working on that, but the dynamics of my relationships changed. My relationship with my brother and I are very much best friends. But our relationship is very different, very, very different, because I don't act on the codependence with him like I have. So a couple years ago, he got into some legal trouble and he called me and he's like, I need help. I helped him, but I'm like, you know, this is how much it's costing me to help you. And you have to, this is not a gift. This is a loan. Demanding to be paid back that loan, so this is how this works, because I'm married, so we have shared finances, so this is not just my money, this is our money. And so he's calling me asking me for more money, and I'm finally able to say, you haven't paid back the money that I loaned you the last time, and when you do that, maybe I can help you. And that was a lot of growth. But I think the biggest thing, as far as marriage is concerned, I learned this from my other relationships too, was how to ask for what I need. Because I spent a lot of years in a lot of different relationships with my needs not being met, expecting that whoever it is should just know what the needs are. Can't you see that? Do you not see that the kid is screaming and the laundry needs to be folded, and expecting that your brain and my brain are going to work the same, and that you're going to see the same things that I see, and that you're going to know that the solution to all of that is hey, you should go take a shower, or whatever it is, whatever thing that it is on any given day, because it's never the same. It is never the same. The solution is not like it might be a shower today, but tomorrow it might be like just go to a meeting and get out of the house, you know. But I expect him to know that, and I shouldn't have to tell him. And so, like, I learned how to ask for what I need by being in relationships with women, you know, like, because I would call people, and they would be like, how can I help you? You know, like, how can I help you? And I would have to figure out what it is that I need. And what I also learned through that was that, like, sometimes I have expectations on my husband and I don't even know what they are. So, like, how the fuck, how the fuck does that work? You keep not meeting my expectations, but I can't even tell you what they are, which means that this is not, again, not a you problem. This is a me problem. And all of that has been pointed out to me by somebody else. Like, I don't figure this shit out on my own. It has been, like a sponsor or another woman in my friendships that has shown me that stuff. But I say all of that to say that like, sponsorship really taught me how to be married, because I have like, I do not lie to my husband under any circumstances ever, and I have never been able to tell the truth about anything before. And so, and I do not, you know, there are a lot of things that in my marriage that I like, I inventory and that need work. Like, one of them is direct amends in marriage is extremely hard for me. You know, like, I can change the behavior, but saying I'm sorry to him is extremely hard. I can say I'm sorry and make a direct amends to anybody else, but I really struggle with him. And I don't know why that is. I'm sure that it's ego in some way. But, like, I have a sponsor that helped. Like, I literally have to call and be like, so I did this thing, probably, or said this thing, and it probably wasn't nice, and, like, how can I make this right? And she, like, teaches me how to fix that situation and to make a direct amends. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. But it is something that I'm working, like, actively working on, because I want to be better. So anyway, I'm about to start, like, for real rambling in a second. But all of the relationships, somebody said it, I think it was the speaker tonight, said that, like, one phase of life has prepared me for the next phase of life. And that has been my experience in relationships. My relationship with my sponsor has prepared me for my relationships with my friends, and my relationships with my friends has prepared me for my relationship with my family, and my relationship with my family has prepared me and the relationship with the God of my understanding has prepared the relationship with myself, because I didn't have a relationship with myself when I got here at all, but what I did know of her, I did not like. And I was a 20-year-old scared little girl. And today I am a not 20-year-old, like, grown, full, complete woman by myself. And I think that as far as the relationship with myself goes, that's been the most valuable thing, is that I know that I love me, and therefore that I can love you. And I don't love me every day, but most days. And I love more of me than I ever have. So, I don't know. I'm grateful to be here, and that's all I got. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. So I will, where are the words? We have more time. Everyone is invited to share. Please limit your share to 3 to 5 minutes. Raise your hand and I will call on you. Floor is yours, guys, if you want to share.
The guys can share. Woo!
Yeah. Male perspectives are welcome.
My name's Doug, Recover Addict.
Hi, Doug.
I'm gonna represent for the guys. Alright, y'all. Thank y'all for y'all lead. Thank y'all for y'all service. Really got a lot out of each of y'all share. I finally get my wife now, so thank y'all. But relationships, man, is a real big, difficult part for me right now. I can love y'all. I love the hell out of a newcomer. You know, y'all love the hell out of me, right?
Yeah.
When I take that shit home, that's where I struggle. I like to share that I got a TNT at home, right? I got a toddler and I got a teenager. So I'm likely to walk into a bomb at any moment, all right? Blow up. That was my teenager just trying to call me right now, right? And I struggle to love him. You know, I'm finding all of the faults in him. You know, why you ain't wash the dishes properly? Why you can't clean your room up? Why you fucking up in school? You know, but he's a good kid. He's 13. He ain't smoking no weed. I was smoking weed by the age of 13. You know, I was stealing by the age of 13. I was doing a whole bunch of dumb shit at the age of 13. So, but I can come into a room and I can share about it. You know, I'm a part of a men's home group where the men are helping me be a man today, right? More responsible. Every single morning I do my devotion, man. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna, positive reinforcement. Focus on the good shit he does. You know, walk out here, walk the dog. The dog, the shit in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, all that spiritual shit goes out the window. All of it, right? But I'm getting better, y'all. But the greatest thing is that I'm present. The greatest thing is that I'm aware of this shit. You know, but I gotta stop sharing about this shit eventually and start doing something about it, right? So I'm praying about it, and you know, the solution will come eventually, man. As long as I'm trying to get it right. Then I got my wife. You know, grateful for, because through all my addiction, man, she was there. She ain't take my shit. She kicked me out a couple of times, but you know, this last time around, man, she said she wanted a divorce when I was in treatment, and I was okay with that because I was working on myself. And eventually said she was gonna give it a try, and she moved back up here from Florida. And, back in the house at that time was real rough, right? All she could see was the attic. What you care about is them NA folks. Why you gotta go to all them meetings and, you know what I'm saying? I was like, shit, you want me to start stealing out of your purse again? But I'm getting to a point where I can allow her to be where she is. And like you said, Tori, it's not them, it's me. Right? Like just the other day, I had to tell her, like, how can I love you if I'm not loving myself? If I'm not loving myself, I don't know how to love myself right now. So how can I love you, right? I'm still learning that shit, and I'm gonna jump even deeper into my fourth step. Not fucking mind a relationship trying to raise 2 boys and have a wife and a house, and I don't even know who the real Doug is yet. That's one of the biggest things I got out of this convention. I gotta get back in my store. Like I got sponsees and I do service and one of the biggest things I've learned, right? Like my recovery must come first. With all of the responsibilities, because social acceptability comes real fast when you ain't doing no dope, right? Everybody wants to be safe. I got a matter today, man, and they saved my life, and I gotta take the suggestions, right? Those are some of the things that I got. I hope I represented for the men, y'all.
Yes, you did.
Thank you.
Thank
Well, I'm thinking of another cover now.
you.
I got a lot out of this story. I came in a little bit late, but I'm listening to. Well, I couldn't listen when I listened to this, and what I heard was, and then somebody in the hallway was just telling me this. I was in a program, and I got a sponsor of Work Steps, and at that time I had ditched that for. Thank God I ditched that for. And she said, "Can you come and help me with the bills?" 6 years in a relationship with this lady. To the point where I went to a meeting one time and somebody said, "You still with that same lady?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "What's wrong with her?" Ha ha ha. And I was like, ha ha ha. I had to take a look at that. Okay, so I go back and I didn't know that I could actually go back there and not try to rekindle it, but just focus on paying the bill. Like I didn't even know I had to do it. Because I'm an addict. Are you kidding me? Pay bills? I gotta find some excuse for me to use when she's not acting. I'm looking for something. I can't find any excuse. So I noticed that I was wrapped around AA and NA and all these meetings I'm going to, but I unraveled myself around her. And what I noticed was that I was getting, and I was telling somebody in the hallway, I was getting codependent responses. And I'm trying to learn to be like independent. I have an independent mindset. For some reason, I don't know why. And I had to let it go. Something in my down here in my gut is telling me to let this go. Don't keep trying to fix something that I'm still broke. Right? So I put some meetings on and I started hanging out with these men. And I ended up in an Al-Anon. And the Al-Anon meeting, even though I know this is the NA meeting, all this shit helps me. When I went, it was on the topic was on letting go. And somebody said, if you don't let this go, it's going to be more pain for her and you later. So when you said the part where when I let her go, she just started busting out in tears and she turned around and looked at me and said, so are we still a couple? And I just kind of looked and it was hard to say it. I said, I don't think it's a good idea for us to continue this. And she started welling up and crying and I knew I had to leave the apartment and to go to a meeting again. And 3 weeks later, we sit down, she's a truck driver, we sit down and we talk. And she said, I'm so glad that you let me go because I didn't know I was this messed up. When you said that part just now, that was God doing for me what I could not do for myself. Because, I'm a guy. First of all, I'm going to let this woman go. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's intelligent. She's a truck driver. I'm like, yo, look at that girl. No, that's not what this program is about. It's about letting go because somebody in the hallway was telling me this. That's the greatest thing I could have did for her. It's not about me anymore. And I got a lot of work to do myself. But I'm glad this brother over here shared because I'm still looking for Daniel. I've never seen that part of Daniel before. And if I'd have seen that, I probably would have never found out this part of Daniel. Been okay with just being by myself without that woman in my life. Oh, it's okay. It's gonna be okay. It's okay. You screwed up and went out and trying to kill yourself. How many times? I don't know. Me and God are working this out. And with you all, this is the we program. I stay out of eyes. This is the we program. I don't need to be in no relationship. Relation quick. Whatever y'all call it. I don't need to be in no situation. Like, it's just best, and the peace is here. There's a little bit of peace going on, and I'm trying to protect that by not getting involved with something because I'm desperate to be involved with somebody. And I'm gonna get my butt kicked with trying to date. That ain't working either. Because then I'll be on the phone with my friend like, yo, bro, like, I don't understand why she. No, just keep the peace. And I can only do it through prayer and listen to what you're saying. And thank you for telling me the story. It really helped. I don't know if y'all I got some help from it. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Come on, Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm a grateful addict.
Hey,
Grace. I'm a disease of addiction. And, thank both of you ladies for, sharing your experiences. I, been around for some years, several years, and, I never shared, about my relationships, because, you know, I guess I just don't have the opportunity to. So now that I do, I'm going to share it. It makes me nervous. I haven't really had a lot of successful relationships. You know, I feel like I've been single for more than 20 years. Although I have dated people, I have been, but let me just say this. You're the first person in my 49 years of life that I have heard someone share the way that I function, right?
Yeah.
And so, in saying that,
Wow.
I have encountered a lot of, now let me just say, I have been in relationships that I was completely monogamous. And I've been in a marriage where I was practicing poly, right? But they were not. But I had to, listen, I was suffering because I did it outside. I was in committed relationships with other people, and I was also committed to my husband, right? But and the crazy thing is, right, that I was happier than ever. But when you can't share that with your partner, right? It's like what you were saying, like it's crazy trying to be free when you're fucking stuck and you keep encountering people who don't match you, right? So I've been single because I want to respect who I am with, and I want them to respect me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just been a very fucking difficult road getting in relationships with people and who think that, oh, because you're poly, that means you're some sort of freak and everybody's a fuck opportunity. I haven't been with none of these men in the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous in almost 9 years. I didn't come in with the bullshit, and I'm not picking it up while I'm here. I would do myself and them an injustice by trying to present something to people that I am not, right? And the extra women, right? I fucking love women. I love women. And because of that, right, I carry myself a certain way. I'm not giving a woman my shit, and I'm not fucking taking hers. But it's my personal intimate relationships in this process for me has been fucking horrific because I'm a good ass woman. I'm a provider. I'm independent. I'm a go-getter. And when I'm with someone, I love and I fucking love hard. And I have not been able to find the what I need to thrive, right? I give it and give it and give it, and I pour into situationships that somebody told me one day. They said, girl, make them motherfuckers earn what you give. Make them earn what you bring, right? I don't know how to do that shit. I don't know how to say no. You know what I'm saying? I don't know to a one. I don't know how to say no. If I, you know, I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. But when I'm with you, a lot of times I do operate and I've been with people for some years and was just with them, you know, and so I understand the lifestyle because that is me. But you know, relationships is just fucked for me. No, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you because I want to meet my match. I want somebody to love, and who's going to fucking love me unconditionally. And I've never said that shit out in the open around not just us, but nobody. Who I'm gonna share with my family members? Like people when they hear the way I think, they get angry with me because I'm not who they think I should be. So I keep that shit to myself. So fucking thank you. Then goddamn. You know, and I'm a very, very happy person. But I would like to encounter someone, right,
Not saying that I don't have to be in multiple relationships. It's not a necessity. And that's what people think. You know what I mean? I would love to meet someone who can understand me, who can communicate with me, and we can fucking grow together. And if things change, the dynamics of it, we can discuss it and go from there. I don't want to be obligated to, I want to be obligated to a commitment of investing in another person who won't fucking invest in me. I have not found that shit. People are so full of shit. Not everybody, but I'm saying the people I've encountered. But then again, like the young lady was sharing, I've been sitting still by myself and checking me. Like, why do you keep attracting the shit that you don't fucking want? I'm the common denominator. So you know what I'm saying? Whatever, I'm done. Thank you for letting me be able to share, right? And look, I didn't even look back. You know what? Some fucking body might be in here, but guess what I'm blessed with the gift of? I don't give a fuck what you think about me, right? Because I ain't gonna use. I'm gonna free myself and I'm gonna do some work on me so I can get better, so I can fucking engage somebody, right? Who I don't have to be worried about if it's a bad investment. $20,000 later in just one fucking summer. No, I'm telling you, 90 days with a woman this past fucking summer, $20,000 later, and it was a poor investment, man. So I ain't mad about the money. I'm mad about my goddamn time that I can't get back. Right? So I'm learning. I'm gonna be 50 this year, man. And I'm just like, yo, I've been focusing on myself. But I also want to fucking focus on somebody else. I want somebody else. Damn, I can't believe that just came out my mouth. Like, goddamn, that shit just came out my mouth. I would love to meet somebody that's still loving me when I ain't doing every fucking thing right.
There you go.
But I'm that person, I'm quick to admit my wrong in the moment. I ain't gotta put you on a list. And I check myself and correct it, because I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't. I ain't letting the motherfucker hurt me. Because when you do, I'm old enough to know that what you said, brother, that was the other guy. That when you stay around long enough, when the toxicity is there, it don't take me that goddamn long to diagnose it and be like, you know what? Let's do each other a favor. Go our separate ways, and I'm still going to love you. But I want you to be happy with somebody else. I don't have time to be fucking being beat up on and let somebody beat up on me. Whatever. First time I ever shared some shit about relationships in almost 9 years in any meeting in Narcotics Anonymous. So fuck that. Y'all just got dumped.
Mary Quinn.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mary Quinn. Great room. Thank you, Tori. Thank you, Naomi. I didn't know that I was going to get to hear you both. And so it feels really pretty wonderful to be in a room with two women I love and admire so much. And on a topic that has been rocking my world for the past couple years is my sponsor and I embarked upon the steps in this most recent round. She said, well, maybe, it seems like relationships are the common denominator and in the places that you could, perhaps get freer. And I thought it was going to be about romantic relationships. Like I really did. I really thought that's what it was going to be like, just like going through and listing like all the guys I've dated and what happened and what went wrong and then just fixing it. And then I'd just get married basically. And it's just brought me to my knees in a way I could not have forecasted. And if you had told me this is what it was going to be like, I probably wouldn't have done it. So it's probably good because it's gotten me to a level of freedom that I didn't know. I've questioned everything about the way that I interact with people and the way that I let people into my sphere and the way that I maintain boundaries and the way that I set expectations and then get mad that people have those expectations that I set. You know, it's just been really, really interesting. And the thing that I would say is, you know, I think the thing about relationships for me is they exist. It's just how much am I going to consciously participate in them? Because the true fact of the matter is, I have still, you know, I've held on to this desire as a child that I had to like be married and have the family and all these things. And the fact of the matter is what I wanted was a picture. I wanted to be in the picture and I wanted it to be real cute. But I've never done the work. Like I've always let him do that. You know, he likes me. Okay, that's great. Well, then we'll be in a relationship and then whatever he wants, I'll do. And then I'll make myself into whoever he wants me to be. And then it'll work out great. And it doesn't. It just doesn't continually work out great. And that could be with, you know, in a romantic relationship, with work, you know, I mean, I see it a lot with work. And so it's just really, it's like getting clearer and clearer in how I can use my voice and step up and be me and just let that be enough. Not even enough, like let that be what my life is about. Like what else is my life going to be about? If it's not about me being me, like I don't know what it would, I don't know. Like I'm not really into theater. So I don't like it just doesn't do it for me. So I think, you know, I'm just not willing to give up. And I'm not willing to give up because I know there's more to be revealed, not because I have a specific of what will be revealed, I guess is what I would say. And just for today, that feels enough. You know, I'm in a place in my recovery where like the other isms are just like strong kicking my butt. And that's been a challenge. And it's been a challenge to just like restake my claim that like I am a beautiful woman in recovery today. And I can let myself be seen in that way. You know, I don't have to breast out with a scared little girl anymore. It's hard to even hear myself say that, but you know, I do believe it. So I'm grateful to all of you in that room. I'm grateful, or this room, I guess I'm kind of in the room. We're all, and I'm grateful for GRCNA. Thanks for letting me share.
Love you, Mary Quinn. Yeah, go ahead.
My name is Seth, and I'm an addict.
Hey,
I've heard some amazing honesty tonight, and I guess that's why I'm sharing. A lot of people who I've attended meetings with kind of know my ongoing story, but I made 8 years clean last September, but I'm still on my fourth step. And I'm not working my steps, but I'm not working my steps with the commitment that I know I could apply and see change.
Yeah.
And I started with I'm in a relationship. My partner and I have been in a relationship, and this year will be 20 years. We met using together, and then we stopped that kind of using together, and then started thinking, continued to other kind of using together, and then I got clean, and it works in a lot of really positive ways, and we've both grown a lot together. We have an amazing domestic partnership, and he's incredibly supportive of my recovery. But there's a lot of things that that aren't there, that I wish were there, and things that are there that I wish weren't. And so, and we tried couples counseling during the pandemic, which I imagine a lot of couples did. And that kind of came to ground to a halt. He stopped being willing to really participate. I came away with that after a one-on-one session with our counselor, and he's like, "Can I recommend a book to you? It's called Codependent No More." I'm like, and just before that, I had come to terms with my unhealthy relationship with food, and I was still on step 3. I was like, I'm just gonna put a pin in these and move on to step 4, and we'll see what happens then. But so couples counseling, we've tried assignments on working on your intimacy ideas and stuff like that. And what you guys are really reminding me of tonight is that I'm kind of repeating some behavior that predates getting clean, which is trying all these different things when I have the solution right in front of me. Well, I haven't proved to myself it's a solution, but I'm sitting in these rooms full of people saying, I've done this and it's worked for me. And I believe you. And I believe that if it works for you, it can work for me. I guess I'm still coming to believe because I'm still on my first 4 step. So anyway, I am so grateful for your honesty and for the kick in the butt and the reminder that I'm not going to be able to figure out what kind of relationship I need until I figure out who I am, until I finish that inventory, until I do that work of being ready to have my shortcomings removed and make my amends. And I believe I can do that if I keep showing up, keep staying clean, and just keep sharing about it until I get done with this first 12 and then start again. Thanks for letting me share.
Unfortunately, we are out of time. I would like to thank all in attendance for their participation. Let's make a circle and close with the free version of the Serenity Prayer. Those joining us online are invited to unmute and join in the prayer as well.
Oh, yeah. I just noticed it too.
That's how it be.
Come on.
Get a little closer.
We gotta go back here. And spread on out.
Come on.
Alright, moment of silence. God,
Grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
I think he thinks so. I'm definitely being sarcastic. I'm not. Are you really not? Oh, no.
it says introduce, but it also